Good evening, everyone. Happy Monday to everybody. Hope everybody had a great weekend. Covering San Diego State basketball and San Diego State softball today, and also previewing San Diego State basketball, Fresno State tomorrow at 8 p.m. on CBS Sports, as well as covering and previewing San Diego State's softball team as they go to the Mary Nutter Collegiate Classic down in Cathedral City here in Southern California. Now, I should be having somebody joining me very soon. But to start, let's go over San Diego State basketball and their 64-47 point win against Boise State. Absolute dominance from start to finish. We had a little bit of a rough patch there to start. We're down 9-4. But from that 9-4 point, I think there's about 16 minutes left in the first half. The Aztecs were absolutely dominant. Absolutely dominant. Defensively, they were being aggressive. They were playing the gaps really well. They did a really, really nice job. Um, have Don coming in here as I explain the game and everything. Did a really nice job against Cardenas, in my opinion, limiting him to just scoring because Cardenas is one of the best playmakers in all college basketball, averages over 7 assists a game, and just finds guys pretty easily baseline, driving baseline, kicking it to the corner, kicking it to the wing. I thought we did a really good job, in my opinion, kind of limiting him a little bit to being just purely a scorer. He only had 3 assists, which is a great job in limiting him to 3 assists. Tyson Degenhart, again, had another struggle game against us. Just the way that we throw bodies at him, the way that we double team him, very smart out of us, the way that we plan. I think we match up against Boise well with our size and everything, with Magoon, JCJ, Heidi, Farrow, along with our size at the guard spots too. When you got Taj coming in, Miles Bird, Boyd, a little bit of a stronger guard the way he attacks the basket. Same for Wayne McKinney. BJ Davis a little bit skinnier, but BJ Davis is very quick, very fast, which is why he was able to cover Cardenas so well. Don, are you here? Wanted to see if I can get your input.
Hi, yes, I'm here.
What did you think about the game on Saturday?
I thought they looked great. I thought they looked really good. I know there was, I think what was the points? They were +2, and they ended up winning by a lot more than that.
Yeah, they were not favored by a lot, which is very rare for us at the House, which also gives props to how good Boise is as a team and how well they've played ever since we beat them up in Boise. They played really well, so that kind of gave them some props a little bit for how good they were, and we simply just dismounted them. Quite frankly, on Saturday, they did not look comfortable. We were very hectic defensively. We did a really good job offensively getting to the basket, especially Nick Boyd. That's always been his specialty. I thought it has always been a strength of his game is when he's attacking the basket and finishing, because he's a very talented finisher. The way he attacks the basket, absolutely love it. Nick Boyd highlighted the game, obviously, but another one who he has been terrific in the past 5-6 games is Magoon Guath, redshirt freshman, 7'1", 6 blocks against Boise State. I mean, this dude he's a monster, quite frankly. Magoon Guath is a monster. His chase down block on Degenhart where he pinned it on the backboard, just outstanding. His ability, the way he got back in defense, didn't put his head down and everything. He got back on defense, ran back, pinned it against the backboard. His ability to go into the post, with Dutcher talked about it in the post-game interview after the game, talking about how they wanted to get Magoon more touches in the post because of how talented he is and they trust him as a passer. I know he had 7 turnovers, but when you're a young guy, 7 turnovers it's going to happen. You're young. It's going to happen. 7 turnovers is going to happen in the post and everything. So I'm not too worried about that. I do love the fact that we are getting him more post touches because he really is talented. I love the way that he's able to pass out of double teams. truly. Did you catch any softball this weekend, Don, at all? Did you catch any softball this weekend?
I did not. I did not, unfortunately.
This softball was great. I'll talk a little bit more about softball. I'm going to break down the game a little bit more, but that's a little bit of a preview of what else we got on today's live, talking about San Diego State softball. A little preview of what we're going to talk about. They went 5-0 in Clearwater. Talk about that, break down some of the games, what I thought. But to continue on the San Diego State and Boise State affair, I thought our defense looked fantastic. I thought Boyd and BJ Davis's pressure are on Cardenas, as well as Miles Bird sometimes getting switched on to Cardenas, was terrific. It really just helped us play the lanes the way that we play our gap defense and everything. Whenever they try to drive to the basket, we were rotating the way that we were aggressively playing the lanes, playing the gaps. Just Boise State could not get anything going. And if Boise can't hit the three against us, they're really going to struggle. And they struggled from three. We held them to, I believe, 15% shooting from three, held them to 33% shooting from the field. We did a great job against them defensively. Offensively, I thought we did a lot better job attacking the paint, truly. Getting into the paint, kind of attacking, kind of letting the game come to us, not really taking so many threes. I think this was the least amount of threes we've taken in a game this year at 12. We took some threes, but they were open threes. They weren't forced. There was one Miles Bird one that was a little bit forced. That was a little deep, and he missed it. But other than that, we attacked the basket pretty well. I thought we let JCJ, Magoon, Heidi, Farrow kind of attack the boards a little bit, be able to get some offensive rebounds, some second chance points, and that I think that's where this team thrives, quite frankly, is attacking the basket, not settling. So I thought Brian Dutcher and his coaches had a great game plan coming into the game, offensively and defensively. We'll talk about the Fresno State game here in a second, but I thought they did a really good job. Nick Boyd, we talked about him. Magoon, talked about how fantastic he has been. I want to talk about Miles Bird here real quick, because Miles Bird didn't have the best game stats-wise, but if you're an Aztec fan, if you followed Miles Bird, you know that just because he doesn't put up a lot of points on the stat sheet, doesn't get a lot of assists, or even gets the steal numbers that we're accustomed to him getting, he really impacts the game defensively at the defensive level with his length and everything. What was it like, Don? I know you were there and everything doing photography. What's it like watching Miles Bird so up close?
It's quite exciting, as you stated. He doesn't get a whole lot as far as statistics and in that matter, but I think his play and his leadership and his hustle. I mean, I've seen him, where there's a team or someone from the other team's going up for a layup, and he just comes out of nowhere and just smacks the ball right out of the air. I mean, he's very impressive, and you're right. There's sometimes he's just not on his game, but he seems to make it up in other areas. So you can always count on him to get the crowd hyped, and I really enjoy watching his hustle. And like I said, he's just some of the pictures. He's just kind of like a human highlight reel. You can't ever say that he's not given all. When he's in these games, because he is, and I see it all the time. It's fun to watch.
Yeah, watching Miles Bird has been fun to watch. We always heard some stuff about him when he was a redshirt freshman and everything, redshirting during that national championship run that we had playing against them. I remember going down to Houston and everything and saying, "What's up to Miles Bird?" Ask him if he beats Lamont and Micah one-on-one in practice, and he says, "Yeah, he beats them all the time." He used some explicit language that I cannot say on stream, but basically he said he beats them all the time, and honestly, I believe him. I think he's a great player. Fantastic player. I love watching him play. He hasn't been the best offensively. He's kind of struggled a bit. His shot hasn't been falling as much as we've been accustomed to seeing earlier on this year. Shot's not falling, but he makes up for it on the defensive side of the ball. It's his instincts. He has great defensive instincts, which makes him such a great defensive player with his length, 6'7". He's going to be an NBA player. Whether he goes into the draft this year after the season, we'll discuss that a little bit later down the line, not in this stream, but that might be an off-season topic to discuss, him maybe going into the draft. But Miles Bird's going to be an NBA player. He's going to make an NBA team happy. coming off the bench as a 3-and-D guy. His effort, his passion, and it's something that San Diego State absolutely loves and embodies San Diego State and San Diego State basketball for as long as I've known. So absolutely love Miles Bird playing. Couple
Yep.
other guys I want to get some of your thoughts on the game. Wayne McKinney broke the 1,000 point barrier, broke it on the three that Nick Boyd drove and kicked to him in the corner. Obviously, Wayne McKinney scored a majority of his points at San Diego University, not that far away from San Diego State. What's it been like watching Wayne McKinney up close? I know he hasn't exactly been the scorer that he was at San Diego, but he just wants to win, and he loves being here. He loves San Diego State. He loves San Diego. What's it been like watching Wayne McKinney so up close?
He's another one. He's another one that when he's in there, I mean, his play is just electrifying. He's another one that throws up these incredible shots that you're just like, you're not sure how he actually can get his body in a position that he does and makes the shots that he did. I was there, and luckily, I was able to get a picture of that 3-point play that put him over 1,000. And thankfully, I found out before the game that he was up for that milestone. So it was nice to capture that, historic moment for him. And I know, being a hometown guy, that was probably pretty cool for him, and especially to have the crowd that they had. And once they found that out, it seemed like that was just something else that kind of went positive with the night and got everybody pumped.
Yeah, I mean, the way that Nick Boyd talked about Wayne in their post-game press conference and everything, about how when they were in San Jose State and they were down by 17 at halftime, Wayne McKinney kind of brought everybody together when the coaches weren't around and gave them a little bit of a speech. And he kind of just reminded them, like, hey, like, we are a very talented team. We can be a top 10 team if we play to it, but we are not playing to it right now. We are playing not good basketball. And we need to turn it up a little bit, because if we want to be here in March, if we want to be there, we have to turn it up, and we can't lose games like this. And Nick Boyd said that that type of speech from Wayne, he's not a man of a lot of words, but when he speaks, everybody listens. And it's looking like the team listened, because ever since the second half at San Jose State, this team has been on fire. I want to see how we play against Fresno State, if we have a little bit of a lapse there, if we play down to Fresno State's competition, because Fresno State, not that good of a team. They're going to zone us for 40 minutes, but we are still highly talented compared to them, and I think we should beat them by double digits, especially at home. And I can't wait for Utah State in Logan, because they stole one here. I don't think they should have won the game. I think we played terribly in that second half. We were up by over 20, and they hit a game-winning three with 2 seconds to go. So I think Utah State stole that one. I think we have the talent to go up to Logan and win. And if we go up to Logan and we win in Logan, prime time, Wayne McKinney's speech at that San Jose State halftime might have turned this team around. Maybe. Wait for that discussion after the Utah State game. If we win that game, we'll be pushing that, saying that, Wayne McKinney turned this team around with that halftime speech. Another player that I want to get to didn't necessarily have the best stats game either. Just somebody that I've loved watching so far. It's one of the freshmen, and it's Taj DeGorville. He's who I've loved watching play ever since we got him here earlier on this season. He plays with a swagger and a confidence that typically you do not see from true freshmen. And for him to come in and play with this type of confidence and just play well against good competition, it's something that you rarely see in watching him. What's it like being around Taj DeGorville and even Farrell Compton as well, who they're both great friends? What's it like being around them and seeing them play?
You know what I like about him, Taj, is he seems to be very unselfish. There's opportunities where he seems like he could probably make the basket, or at least take the shot. And he's always seems like he's looking for, to pass it on to someone else, get that assist. So, I watch him. I like his hustle. I think he's a great team player. I just think that him and some of the other additions that we didn't have last year, this team seems to be strong from the bench. I think everybody, if one's not working out and not having a night, they'll put another one in, and somebody seems to pick it up. So I think that, it's exciting to watch, because in years past we were kind of, we had our starters and we weren't very deep in the bench. So it's exciting to watch. And boy, it just keeps me busy trying to, track the ball and with these guys and their ability to make plays. It's a lot of fun. I'm really having an exciting year photographing the team.
Yeah, I absolutely love this team. This team can be rough at times. Can be rough at times. Every Aztec fan knows that. So far this year, that this team can be very rough to watch. But that's what makes us love them. They're a little bit rough to watch, but that's why we love them. Another player that I think is a massive addition ever since he came back from his little shoulder injury that he had. I think JCJ has been great ever since he came back from his injury. He doesn't put a lot on the stat sheet as well, but it's his effort that he plays with on the both offensive and defensive glass. The amount of tip outs that he had, giving us a chance at second chance points, third opportunities, fourth opportunities with his effort. I don't know if you were able to get a picture of the poster dunk that he had in front of the student section, but I mean, what a dunk! What a highlight play! And Jared, we know JCJ has that. We know he has that in his bag. Honestly, I think we should probably go to him and Magoon more in the post and let them run a little bit of high-low because both of them are talented passers. JCJ last year at Middle Tennessee State, he kind of was forced into that prominent role of a scorer and a passer, and he turned the ball over a little bit, but he also showed a lot of flashes of his passing, and he's kind of showed that this year as well. I love his passing. I love his effort. His defense is getting better as the season has gone on. He's gotten used to the San Diego State kind of defensive style that we have: defense first, offense second. And I think he's done a really good job here at San Diego State. I know some Aztec fans earlier on were not the biggest JCJ fans, but I've been a big JCJ fan ever since Swish League and everything, talking to him. And he's a great dude, amazing guy, somebody that makes it easy to root for him. And what's it like? Like, obviously, I've talked to JCJ. Have you talked to JCJ at all? Talked to him as a person, what it's like, kind of covering him a little bit.
I have not had the privilege of talking to him, but that dunk on Saturday, I did get it, and of course, he ended up, on the floor in front of the bench, flexing his arms, and I got a picture of both Nick Boyd and McKinney, doing the same thing. So it was kind of like sending a statement, like, you can't really guard me. And that dunk that he had was just, it was right in front of us. That was pretty cool. So I definitely got. Seems to get the crowd pumped up and got them really back, into the game.
Yeah. All right. Now we're gonna do a little bit of a Fresno State preview here.
Okay.
Fresno State. Last time we played them, they played us a little close, and then we ended up taking a big lead and everything. When we went up to Fresno, it was a bit earlier in December. It was the first game that we played, and everything, and we kind of went up to Fresno State and we kind of handled them a little bit. And I think Fresno State's going to be – I think this is a great matchup for us right before Utah State. I think this is perfect the way that the schedule aligns because the way that we struggled against Utah State towards the end of the game was because of the way they were zoning us. They run kind of like a man 2-3 zone, and Fresno State runs a similar type of zone. And facing this type of zone before you go up to Logan gives you a good kind of litmus test of what your offense can and cannot do against this zone. And I think going up against Fresno State, they have talented players. They have a couple guards that are very talented that can score the rock. They got a couple bigs that are really good down there at rebounding and finishing around the rim. Not the best free throw shooters, their bigs are, but they're really good around the rim, getting rebounds and everything and finishing. So I think this Fresno State team has talent. I just think I think we're better, quite frankly. I think we have more talent than them. Even though they do have some talent at the guard spot and at the center spot, we're a deeper team. I think that our offense and the way that we play against this zone is going to be a little bit different. It's not going to be the same as we saw against Boise and everything. We're getting downhill because as we saw against Utah State towards the back end of that second half, every single time we were getting downhill, they were kind of cramping the paint a little bit with three guys in there. So it's kind of hard to find a driving lane. So it's going to be a Magoon Guath JCJ game, in my opinion, where you get him in the middle of that 2-3 zone. And I think back cuts from both guys on the wing, from a Miles Bird, from a BJ Davis, from a DeGorville, from a Nick Boyd, even from a JCJ or a Heidi or a Compton or a Magoon. Those back cuts, in my opinion, are going to be there in this 2-3 zone if you get the ball into the middle of it. If they try and double it, I trust JCJ and Magoon Guath to pass out of it to find open guys in the corners, opposite corner to the wing and everything. I trust them to do that. Now, when it comes defensively against this team, you can't really play under the screen against these guards because they will take those limitless threes. That's typically what our defense is. Either we play super over the screen and we hedge, or we go under and we do kind of like a hard hedge and the center roll back to his man. It's going to be interesting to see our defensive philosophy against Fresno State. I really do think that Miles Bird and BJ Davis are going to make it tough on them defensively, simply with BJ Davis's quickness, Miles Bird's quickness, and his length. Nick Boyd's strength as well is going to be making it hard for the guards to attack the basket. Wayne McKinney, his strength, Taj DeGorville's length and his foot quickness and his IQ, quite frankly, on defense is what's going to make it tough. What do you think about this Fresno State-San Diego State game going into it?
I'm just kind of looking at the statistics from the last game, and it looks like we beat them by 22. I don't know. I'm a big camera guy, but as far as the stats, I see them, but I don't know much about Fresno. But I would assume that, being we're home, that, I'm wondering, if you think, we'll have that much of many points over them, tomorrow night.
I do think this game should be a blowout because they did kind of hold us a little bit in that first half in Fresno. I believe it was like a 5-point game, 6-point game with like 7 minutes to go, 6 minutes to go in the first half, and then we kind of blew the doors open. That's Magoon Guath's breakout game was against Fresno State, where I think he hit like 3 threes, had multiple blocks. That was kind of his breakout game, and this is why I think tomorrow I think Magoon Guath's going to have another great game against Fresno State. I just don't think they have the guys to guard him. They have solid bigs, but they don't really have anybody that's quick enough to stay out there on the wing. He's going to be open in those corners on the wing when we try and drive and attack this zone, be able to kick it out. He'll be able to attack the basket, get into a little mid-range spot, hit his little fadeaway that he loves to hit, and everything, be able to attack the basket. I think Magoon's going to have a big game. I think this game, if I had to put a prediction on the score, would probably be about 72 to 54 would be my guess on what I think the score is going to end up being. I think we win by 18. I do think it's going to be a blowout. I don't think Fresno State can really stick with us a little bit. We'll do another live stream in a couple days reviewing the game, talking about the game, and then doing a Utah State preview. But I do think this game is going to be a blowout. Keys to the game, in my opinion, are rebounding. I think that's going to be a key for every single game for the Aztecs have played and will play for the rest of the season is rebounding. We need to secure the defensive boards, make sure Fresno State's not getting any second chance, third chance opportunities to score. Because when you give a team like Fresno State that loves to shoot and everything, then they're going to be able to hit some threes and be able to get back into it. So we really have to rebound and secure the boards there, get some second chance opportunities on our side, probably get about 5 to 6 offensive rebounds, get some second chance points, and then force some turnovers. Fresno State's a team that likes to play fast, so they're going to turn the ball over with the way we play defense. So we'll probably be able to force about 10. Goal should be about 10 to 11 turnovers. Force from Fresno State would be a goal right there. And then another key, in my opinion, is free throw shooting. I don't think anybody's going to have that in their keys, but free throw shooting is a big key for me, especially going into a game against Utah State on Saturday. We need to get our free throw shooting together, because if you go up to Utah State and you get the opportunity to go to the line multiple times, over 10 times in that game, you have to hit your free throws. If you don't hit your free throws, it's going to be tough to win against good teams in this league and even in the tournament. So leaving basketball after doing a breakdown of the game against Boise and a preview of Fresno State, we go on to San Diego State softball. Now, San Diego State softball, for those that have followed it past couple years and everything, we made a super regional in 2022, I believe. 2023, I believe it was the 2023 season. Last year did not make a super regional, but Stacy Newman Denise did a great job on the Mesa, and San Diego State went to Clearwater, the Clearwater Invitational, which is the biggest preseason college softball tournament in all of college softball. And they faced two ranked teams in Alabama and Missouri. Faced an ACC contender in Virginia, who's not ranked but had the ability to be ranked, was receiving votes. Facing a Wichita State team that was also receiving votes before the Clearwater Invitational weekend, and Charlotte, who has a thundering offense, and we went 5-0. This San Diego State softball team, Don, if you haven't watched them yet, I think you should tune in. They have a huge Mary Nutter Collegiate Classic coming up in Cathedral City. I'm going to try and make the trip down on either Saturday or Sunday to watch these ladies live again. But this team is outstanding. This team's phenomenal. Stacy Newman Denise, the coach of the Aztecs, talked about it in multiple interviews, talking about how when they went to Clearwater this past weekend, they wanted to make a statement. They wanted to make a statement that San Diego State softball is on the map and you need to respect us. We're here to play you hard. We're here to be gritty and fight. And Shannon Cunningham's walk-off in the last game of our Clearwater Invitational, walk-off grand slam to beat Charlotte after being down 8-4 going into the last inning, bottom half of the inning. Could not describe this team any better. This team was down 8-4, and we just knitted and gritted our way to get to a good spot where we had the bases loaded in a tie game, I believe, where Shannon Cunningham, we were down 1 actually. We're down 7-8. Shannon Cunningham came in, pinched hit, and she hit home run to straight center field. It wasn't televised due to field changes. But Shannon Cunningham came in clutch, and after the game, she did an interview with D1 Softball. And she said that this team and everything embodies what it is that people should strive to be an Aztec. It embodies rising up against adversity. It embodies kind of being gritty and staying in the fight, something that we've grown accustomed to seeing in past football teams and San Diego State basketball teams, especially the one that we watched this year. It's something that we've grown accustomed to seeing in Aztec teams when it comes to the major sports, football and basketball. And this softball team has kind of embodied that. They've had some key contributors from the transfer portal. Grace Uribe had another walk-off against Wichita State, walk-off single to score the runner from second to beat Wichita State 4-3. And she has pitched phenomenal as well. This team is comprised of some really, really professional hitters. The way that they take counts and everything, they kind of wait for their pitch. They're not really swinging out of the zone too much. They're not really whiffing. They're putting balls in play, and they're kind of making other teams have to make great plays. And when you play softball and everything, that's kind of what you want to do. You don't want to make it easy on a team. You don't want to pop the ball up. You kind of want to hit the ball on the ground, and you kind of want to force the team to make plays with such the short area quickness that you can have getting from home to first and everything with how close the bases are, with the type of speed that we have in our lineup, especially from some of the young girls on the team. This team is fantastic, and if you're able to, Don, I would try and get out to CBU versus San Diego State on February 25th.
Yeah, I just noticed that on the schedule. Yep, that's definitely. I know we're working on trying to get some more coverage of the ladies softball team. So definitely we'll have someone there, get some pictures and see if we can help promote some of this team and get the fans excited about the upcoming season.
And this team, some players, I want to talk about the team, just not even just their weekend, but just some players on the team. Callie Decker, catcher, she's been a mainstay behind the backstop and everything. For Coach Denise since 2022, she was a transfer from Florida. She had a really good week, especially behind the plate. She threw out a runner. She hit the ball hard all weekend. Now, some of it did not include hits and everything. Some of it gained outs, but she hit the ball hard all weekend. Sometimes it was just finding gloves, but she is going to light up the Mountain West. I believe she might even have a chance to be Mountain West Player of the Year because I do think she hits the ball hard. She squares it up. She's terrific in the backstop, and she is definitely going to be an All Mountain West member at the catcher position. Um, Talking about our pitchers that we had. CC Solera was a preseason All-American Pitcher of the Year in the Mountain West. D1 Softball just released their all-tournament Clearwater Invitational team, and CC Solera was on there. She was on there as a pitcher, and she was fantastic. She came into jam. She came into a bases-loaded jam and got 2 quick outs to get out of it. She started games and gone 4 innings, 5 innings, only giving up 1 run, 2 runs, striking people out, playing with a fire, and her and Grace Uribe, they kind of talk a little bit of smack too. When CC Slayer struck somebody out earlier this past weekend, she kind of talked a little bit of smack. She was kind of waving the batter off, like go back to the dugout. Grace Uribe, when we were facing Missouri. It sounded like Missouri's dugout and the Missouri fans at the game were kind of talking a little bit of smack about her. Um, Obviously, knowing her from Texas A&M, from a Texas A&M transfer, and she kind of put her hand up to her here, like, "What can you guys say now after going 1, 2, 3 in the first?" And those two right there are 2 terrific pitchers that we have on our staff. Obviously, the veteran of the staff is Didi Hernandez. She's a little bit unorthodox as a softball pitcher. She has a kind of a drop ball that's about 42, 43 miles per hour. I believe they call it a screwball. That's about 53. She's very crafty. It's a little unorthodox to face as a hitter, so sometimes she can get on you a little bit with the way that she is able to command the zone, but sometimes teams can hit her hard as well because obviously it's not as fast as a 65, 64-mile-an-hour fastball that most softball players are accustomed to seeing, so they can kind of sit back a little bit, wait on that pitch, and kind of drive it to all fields. And then we have another one, a true freshman, Ava. She's been incredible. She had, let's see if I can find it right here. Yeah, against Southern down in Fullerton last weekend. She pitched a complete game, 9-0 win against Southern. And she went the whole game without giving up a run, and she was fantastic. She started the game, I believe, against Virginia, and she went 3 innings without giving up a run. She is somebody that this team's going to love seeing. I can't wait to watch her in Mountain West play going against these teams that, quite frankly, are not the same level of competition that we faced in Clearwater and we're going to face in the Marietta Collegiate Classic. We still got some good teams out here in the Mountain West that the softball team's going to face, but nowhere near the talent of an Alabama or an Oklahoma or a Missouri or even a Virginia even. Not of that talent, of that caliber. This team's just – they got players, man. Bella Espinoza in left field, she's done a great job. She's kind of struggled a little bit at the plate than what she's usually accustomed to, but she is the leadoff, and she's very quick, very fast. Normally, she'll bunt and everything and try and get on, hit the ball into the ground, and try and beat out a ball to first. But she is a veteran on this team. She is going to be a mainstay in this lineup and has played fantastic. And I'm not even talking about the best infielder. That's a true freshman. Her name is Quinn. I believe her name is Wyke. I might be saying that wrong. The last name is Wyke, and she made some outstanding defensive plays out in Clearwater, diving balls up the middle and tagging the base. Has threw out 2 runners after a ball was hit to the outfield. Great relay throws to third, great relay throw to home. She made some terrific plays. And she is a mainstay at that shortstop position for Coach Denise, and she is going to be a wonderful Aztec on the Mesa, only a true freshman. Um, Other players that made some great plays, Julie Holcomb, she made a great diving play in right field and everything on a sinking ball, kind of like a little shallow hit. She made some great plays. Shannon Cunningham, obviously, we talked about coming in and hitting a pinch hit grand slam to secure the 5-0 weekend against Charlotte. She had a great weekend as well. And not even talking about one who won Mountain West Player of the Week this week, and Lala Macaro, I believe is how you say her last name. And she hit 500 this week in Clearwater. And it just seemed like every single time she came up to the plate, she was super calm. She was collected. The moment was not too big for her when we needed a base runner, and she would just get on base and hit the ball where the other fielders were not. And she's very quick. She had a couple lapses defensively, but she also made some great defensive plays too. It wasn't just a couple errors that she had. She also made some great defensive plays. She turned a couple good double plays that were huge and vital in some of our wins out in Clearwater. And there are some other players that I haven't gotten to as well, but this team's loaded. This team is stacked. I'm excited to watch this team. I've been a fan of softball for pretty much my entire life. It's kind of been a family thing. But I'm excited that San Diego State's got a softball team that I can root for. And hopefully you can come out and root for them as well, Don.
Oh, yeah, definitely. I'll be out. I'm excited to I'm with you. I love watching women's softball. It's exciting. It's even more exciting when you get to take pictures and then slow down some of the action. But yeah, it's a lot of fun, and I'm looking forward to get out some games, and I hope we see a crowd out there with us.
Yeah, I want to shout out the entire softball team. I want to give the entire softball team their colors. Honestly, with how great they are. Mia Rodriguez, incoming true freshman, she is very quick. She actually pinch ran and scored against Missouri after an errant throw from the catcher, getting all the way to the outfield, and she went from first to home in what seemed like 5 seconds. She's lightning quick. Kaylee Pollard, a transfer from Oregon. She is impressive as well. She made some solid plays this past weekend. Ali Duker, she made some plays as well. Got a couple hits, a couple solid defensive plays. Obviously, we talked about Bella Espinoza, a mainstay that we've had on the Mesa for a while. Julie Holcomb talked about her great plays as well. Kiera Cisneros, an infielder who kind of plays second, plays a little bit of third as well. That's mainly Kate Farron's spot, but can play pretty much all around the infield. And she's another freshman that we're absolutely going to love on the Mesa. She's going to be terrific. She made some really good hits, some great plays out there in Clearwater. Jasmine Williams, she was really good in Clearwater. She also hit the ball hard a couple times with some players, but she did really well. She did good last week as well. She was kind of a thorn in the side of Oklahoma when we played Oklahoma and everything. Unfortunately, losing an extra, she was a thorn in their side. Kate Farron from my alma mater, funny enough, from Murrieta Valley High School. She obviously, we talked about her. She's a third baseman. She's an infielder. And she's a player. She's one of those that when you look at her, she's a softball player. When you look at a guy, when you're watching baseball and everything, that's a baseball player. She's a softball player. She gets in there. She does her work. She does a really good job fielding the ball at third base. She's made a couple good plays over there at third. She made the last out, I believe, against Missouri as well. And, she's just a softball player, man. She's just professional. Talked about Callie Decker, another mainstay on the Mesa. She's done a really good job from Florida. Absolutely going to love watching her play in Mountain West play. A couple people that we haven't seen yet. Gabriella Terrones, we haven't seen her yet. She's also a catcher, which I think it's great to have somebody so young learning behind Callie Decker, who I think Callie is a really good catcher, and she might even play professionally at the softball level because we have a couple of softball professional teams out here in the States. Talked about Ava Schafel, a really good talented pitcher that we're gonna love here on the Mesa for years and years to come. Uh, Quinn Waike, we talked about her and how great she's been and everything. Want to give her her flowers, how she's been defensively good with the bat as well, really quick, really fast. Shannon Cunningham talked about her and her walk-off home run against um, Charlotte. She had a home run against Oklahoma as well. A really great bat transfer from Arizona State. So we got a couple transfers on this roster that have really contributed. We got Shannon Cunningham from Arizona State. Now it's about 2-3 years ago, but Callie Decker from Florida, Grace Uribe, we're going to talk about here in a second, from Texas A&M. Jalen Hernandez, she's another freshman that hasn't gotten much playing time, but it's really good to kind of be behind these veterans in the infield and be able to watch them play. Talked about CC Solera, Mountain West preseason pitcher of the year, D1 softball, all Clearwater Invitational team. Jade Ignacio, just another softball player, kind of plays behind the dish as a catcher whenever Callie needs some help. A utility player, plays at first, can play third as well. Just an all-around utility player that kind of Coach Denise uses anywhere that she needs her to play. And then we're talking about Grace Uribe here. Grace Uribe, pitcher, utility, can play the outfield, can play first as well if she's needed at first, But she's been great as a pitcher so far for us this year. I'm gonna love watching her play and everything. Can't wait to watch her play. Had that walk-off hit against Wichita State. She kind of she battles up there at the plate. She has a really good eye. And then she's able to take the ball to all fields. She's able to pull it. She can go with it and take it the other way. She can hit it up the middle. Really good, talented hitter right there. We got Angie Yellen. She's a utility player. She can play all over the infield. She can play second. She can play short. She can play third. She's a terrific glove. Kind of a defensive mainstay. Really good at the plate as well. She drove in a couple runs, I believe, in the Missouri game. Might be mistaken. It could have been the Virginia game. But she did drive in a couple runs. Really good with the bat. Good bat control. Sav Adams, we've seen her a little bit. She's really good. She's a really good utility player. Really good player to have on the roster and everything. Another veteran to kind of help these young girls along as they build their time over here on the Mesa. We talked about Lala Macario being the Mountain West hitter of the week, batter of the week, batting 500 this week. Really good job from her. Really good bat. Kind of struggled a little bit at times fielding the ball, but also have made some great key defensive plays, especially turning some double plays that we desperately needed in some times. Olivia Gnate is a pitcher on the roster. Haven't seen her too much yet. We might see her in Mountain West play, but we haven't seen her too much yet in the preseason. But really good for her to learn from Didi Hernandez, to learn from Grace Uribe, just kind of veterans on the roster. And the last girl on the roster is Didi Hernandez, who we've talked about, has been a mainstay on the Mesa. She's a veteran. She's going to go in there. She's going to give you a couple innings. She's going to strike out some people, and she's going to get out of jams. She got out of multiple jams this past weekend, doing some ground ball double plays, getting some strikeouts getting some people in the swing and miss on her kind of drop ball. And this team it's a roster, man. This team's a roster. This team's fun to watch, and I'm excited.
Yeah, right there with you. I'm looking forward to seeing some games and some great action. So
now, before we get out of here, real quick, I'm going to talk about just real quick. I'm going to talk about a little bit more on the live stream after the Fresno State game, but just so you guys know that are watching the live stream, San Diego State heads up to Cathedral City, which is about 2 hours north of San Diego for those that have been there. They got a good tough stretch of games out there in the Mariner Classic. They open up with Oregon on Friday at 1 o'clock. After Oregon, on Saturday they have a doubleheader against UC Santa Barbara and UCR, 5 p.m. and 7:30 p.m. And then on Sunday, which is more than likely when I'm going to be out there watching the games, they got St. Mary's at 11 a.m. Pacific time, and they have Hawaii at 1 p.m. Pacific time. I'll break it down a little bit more on Thursday or Wednesday, depending on when I do a live stream after talking about the Fresno State game. But these games are on Flow College live stream, so it's a paywall, unfortunately. So you're just gonna have to follow the live stats unless one of you wants to pay, and everything through Flow College live stream. I might pay and everything to watch the games and everything. I might have an account from some family members to be able to watch it. But just a quick little side note of their Mariner Collegiate Classic that they got going on.
Great.
All right, Don. Anything you want to pitch at all before I end the live stream here?
No, I appreciate you doing this, and I look forward to your next one. And I'm excited for the year coming up. For us at East Village Times, we're expanding, trying to expand our coverage of San Diego State sports, and got a lot of new people coming on. And I'm excited to see how far we take this year.
Absolutely, this is something new that we're doing here. I'm going to try my hardest to try and crank out a couple live streams a week. Not just talking about San Diego State sports, but talking about San Diego Padres as well. That we cover with the East Village Times. I'm going to talk with the guy that we have covering the soccer team as well, to see if maybe we can do maybe a live stream talking about the soccer team, San Diego Football Club that we just got here from the MLS. Maybe we can do some live streams talking about them as well. Kind of utilizing this tool, this YouTube tool, to go to do lives, do some do some videos as well, discussing the teams that we cover. But thank you for joining us, Don. Hope you have a great end of your Monday night, and go Aztecs.
Sounds good. Have a good night. Appreciate you.